Welcome back, Ghosties. It's episode 3 of Ghosties On Second.
Roll the music!
Ghosties on Second.
This is like the Cory and Topanga and Sean dynamic I'm feeling. Do you guys agree? Hit the like button. I'm just kidding. Don't hit the like button. Smash that follow button! Cory Dial and I have been buds since the 9th grade.
Yeah, since the 9th grade. Both went to the same Christian school for high school, and same one that Shelby, his wife, also went to as well. Been a Ghost Runners fan for maybe a year and a half, 2 years now, I think. The come up, I guess, or the connection is through Trey Kennedy, just always like following his like social media presence, and went to like a meet and greet. I think that the show that we originally had got tickets for, my wife had got me for, I think it was the year after COVID, like 2021 or 2020, and it was moved, like postponed because of like the lockdown, or I don't even remember if that's the right way to refer to it, but they had canceled the show or rescheduled it, and so I think we ended up going in like 3 years ago now. But then I think you had told me about Ghost Runners, and I was kind of like, I think at the time I was enjoying a lot of like listening to music a lot, and then like when I'm working out primarily, and then like I just listened to the one Trey Kennedy podcast, or maybe it was two, because he also was doing Do This God Bless for a little bit, and so I was enjoying that, and it didn't really have much of another podcast to refer to, so I think it was just like organic that you were like, oh, there's this other podcast that Jake's on, and I think what really like led me into that was when Jake like started being a permanent like role on Trey Kennedy's, and I was like, thinking to myself, Jake's like a lot funnier than I remember him like when he would periodically join. Those were the best episodes like earlier on that Trey had. Yep. And I didn't quite realize how, like, I know people like give like I think Trey some like flack for this, but like how much better the episodes are with Jake and him, like the dynamic of them together. And so took a chance on Ghost Runners, and like with Jake having the dynamic of like the like single guy that's like, or not single guy anymore, but like it was a single guy, and like with no kids, kind of like doing entrepreneurial ambitious things or whatever, and then Brad has like the dad piece, which also entrepreneurial stuff as well, but like the dad element with the kids, I think there was a lot to relate to, and just like hilarious. And Timon, I think when I joined, Timon was already when I started listening, I should say, Timon was already a mainstay, so yeah.
And I remember one of the big things that drew me from just being a fan of like Gene Short's comedy videos was one of our cool stories where we went to see Trey the second time. So we had seen Trey 3 years ago. For the first time, that's when we had the meet and greet with him. And then the next tour that he was on, which the first tour, didn't Jake open for him the first time we saw him too?
Yeah, he opened both times,
But I didn't even really recognize that until the second time, when I had been seeing Gene Short's comedy videos during the whole like post-COVID era, and just really falling in love with how much my kids were laughing, and me and Shelby, especially when Brad was doing like the dad Gene Shorts videos where he's got like the minivan and like different things like that. So I kind of knew about them a little bit more. And then when we went to go see Trey the second time, we're in Tampa, and very lightly involved in the Ghost Runners podcast. We'd see clips and stuff, maybe had listened to a few episodes here and there. But we sat down in our seats, and right in front of us, Rachel and her mom and dad sat down. So we had the Steve Coop right there in front of us.
Right.
We didn't know that he was the legend Steve Coop back then, but we just took a quick second to say hello, and Rachel and her parents could not have been kinder people. Like, we also we didn't even realize that they had like just gotten married just several days before that. So after that show, like the next day or something, they were supposed to fly out to the now infamous honeymoon, the honeymoon that did not go well at all on the island and whatnot. But right before then, it was just like a crazy night. We had like wild success at the casino. We were playing roulette and won like a bunch of money.
Yeah, you did. I think I maybe had mild success.
We decided to treat ourselves to a nice sushi dinner. Then we went to the show, sat down, got to meet Rachel and her parents. I mean, it was just the greatest night. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But that night, like meeting Rachel, connecting, and then actually had no idea that it was Isaac who came and sat down next to her later.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know about who Isaac was back in the day. So, like, I guess when he was done with merch, he came and sat down. So, I know it's a super long story, but that definitely brought us one step closer, like, into the circle of Ghost Runners. And then shortly thereafter, just getting really regular into listening to the podcast, joining the Facebook group. And then it came time for my son Justice and I to go see the total solar eclipse. And they, here in Tampa at the time, it was only partial. But if you went, to the middle of the country, then you could see the total. So we found a spot in the most southern point of, I think, Illinois. And I was just thinking, that's so close to Kansas City. That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
To just like fly into Kansas City, rent a car, and do like a Ghost Runner day in Kansas City before we headed off the next day. So it actually ended up working out perfectly. I posted in the Facebook group. I messaged Brad, Jake, Rachel, just like, hey guys, my son and I are doing this trip. What are some Ghost Runner type things we can do that day? And I don't think that anybody actually got like what I was trying to say with that, because they were just like, oh, go have ice cream here and go check out this cool landmark here. Like, I was like, no, not cool things in the area. I wanted to know ghosty things. Like, what are things in the day in the life of Jake and Brad and like, so of course we had to hit McLean's. Brad had said that we had to go check out Andy's frozen custard, and Rachel had said we had to go check out Shields, this really cool place where there's like a Ferris wheel built in. It's like,
that's cool.
what's that big outdoor store?
Bass Pro?
Yeah, like it's like Bass Pro
Okay.
Shop, but like even grander.
Yeah.
And it had like literally, anyway, it's crazy. But the coolest part of that story, literally like the episode before we flew out, and our flight went in on a Sunday morning, super early, like we landed at like 6:30 a.m. on Sunday morning in Kansas City. Well, the episode before that, Brad decided to just mention something about his church on the podcast, and he named the church, and he said how much he loved the church that he goes to, and I was just like, well, this is awesome and perfect. So Justice and I grabbed the rental car, and the first stop, we headed to McLean's, got breakfast, and then we headed to church. And I'm going to like check Justice in at the children's church area, and this guy Sam comes up, and he's like the head of the children's ministry at the church, and essentially like he's greeting, he's like, hey, how did you hear about us? And I was like, oh, a podcast. And he's like, oh yeah, Brad Ellis. I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, let him know that you're here. And he starts texting him, and essentially like he just like sets it up. Like next thing I know, like 20 minutes later, Brad and I are having like a half an hour conversation, just sitting together in the lobby, just two guys just sharing the things that we have in common, the things that keep us going. Like, it was an awesome conversation. And then we went from there. We just walked into service together, and then just like worshiped together and heard the word. And then afterwards we went and picked up the kids and kind of said our farewells. That was it. Like, I was never going back.
Yeah.
Like, that was forever. I texted Cory. I was like, I think I sent you the selfie that me and Brad took together.
And I was like, wow. How?
And then from there on out, it was just like, we're all in on this thing.
You were mentioned on the podcast like after that, I think.
Oh yeah, he told the story.
Yeah. But so if we could go back just for a second, you missed the thing that I thought you were going to say about the interaction at the Hard Rock after like all the show was finished. Like Jake had come out and like mingle with the audience or whatever, like after the show, and Caleb, like high off the winnings, like I think, would you give him like $100 or something like that?
I gave Rachel $100.
Oh, you gave Rachel $100
because I had like a lot of money in my pocket.
Oh, but then Jake like you tell it.
So I hand Rachel $100. I was like, hey, this is just like a little wedding gift, because we had told her and her parents how much we had just won, before the show. So this is now after the show, and I was just thinking like, why not just like bless them with a quick hundo, like. I remember being newly married, and just that would have felt so cool and fun. And she was like, no, I can't do that. You have kids. And I was like, no, like don't like steal my blessing here. Like just take it and enjoy it. Like, congratulations and everything.
But since you did give it to Rachel, I think Rachel maybe has an argument to be made that like now she has $100 somewhere in the universe floating around to spend on clothes.
I actually thought about this same thing. So what I wanted to do, and I didn't think about it until it was too late. I wanted to message Rachel on Instagram and just find out, hey, did Jake win the tournament and I'll let you get the clothes? I've asked her a couple of things here and there. I did never, you never want to bother these people. Like, they have their own lives and stuff, and I get it. There's like a certain like level of
engagement.
Like,
yeah.
And she's always been very kind. Anyway, I wanted to reach out to her and just find out if that had happened. I forgot to. My apologies. Last week, I texted them. I said, hey guys, recording Ghosties on Second tonight. If you have any input or whatever. And Brad was very kind to give us some feedback. We're getting better. We have microphones now. There's like small microphones. So hopefully the sound is better, but we're going to work on getting like actual mics that can sit on the desk that we can each have our own and whatnot. Cool. Lots of stuff coming down the pipe. That's a little bit of our story. There's always more to come. But one thing that I think is super awesome, while we're waiting for Shelby to come back, Cory and I are going to the Ghostie getaway.
Oh, yeah.
At Gulf Shores in August, which I'm very excited about.
The first session.
Yeah, first session. We're going to session 1.
Yeah, super pumped about that.
I know. I can't wait. And it's like a week before my birthday.
Oh, yeah. I'm gone during Kadra's birthday, my wife's.
Oh, that's right. Shoot, I forgot about that.
But she green-lighted it, so.
Very nice. Maybe we can like highlight some of the Facebook group shout-outs that we had.
Yeah. So the first one that I had, I don't remember who posted it, but it was a throwback to Brad's blog post to Scott, catching Scott up from when he was, I think, was it Portugal or Spain or something for 2 years, I think, on a missions trip. Man, I missed like that that probably important element, but there were some fantastic things that are covered in that blog post. I think the one that I commented on the post actually, of course, it's like selfishly, I think it's funny because so Brad always talks about how when Scott's like controlling the music when he's driving, he's just playing like EDM, like Calvin Harris or like Martin Garrix or something like that. Yeah. And I'm also somewhat of a fan, so like that's why I'm like, they can just rattle those names off. But there's a piece. Yeah, there it is. There's a piece in the blog that says something like he's covering what's dubstep. It's like just like, there's a bunch of noise or whatever, and I would give you a link to have you listen to it, but like it would be a waste of your time. and I made a comment and I said Brad tried so hard to like keep Scott from like going down that path, but Scott definitely went and searched it because like Skrillex was his gateway drug to ED. So I thought that was hilarious. But there's plenty of other like really funny things. Oh, there was one other thing on there. It was about planking, and he, because I think it's from 2012, and he was just saying like I think at some point like people were like laying flat on top of things and thinking that it was cool, and he was like, it never was cool. But I'm also just like I roll my eyes at myself because we were on, I think, a vacation back then with my wife and I and my family, and we definitely blanked. So.
And that the first post you were referring to was from Clara Ruth West.
Oh yeah.
Shout out. And then you said there was one about planking.
Oh no, sorry. The planking was mentioned in that same blog post.
Oh, in that same one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Same one. Yeah.
Legit. So I got one from Cheyenne Shell. She said, I told ChatGPT to roast Timon, Jake, and Brad in Miss Picture, and here's what we got. All right, let's roast Timon, Jake, and Brad from this glorious episode 423 freeze frame. Timon, Why does Timon look like he just realized he's been using conditioner as body wash for a year straight? That expression screams, wait, birds aren't real? Also, with that swoopy hair and innocent confusion, he's like the golden retriever of podcast hosts. Pure heart, no clue. Jake. Jake looks like he got possessed mid-sentence by the spirit of a TED Talk speaker. Those hand gestures, he's either explaining quantum physics or trying to summon Wi-Fi. And that focused stare says, I definitely just made up this fact, but I dare you to challenge me. Brad has the facial expression of a man who just heard someone say, I don't really like pizza. The emotional devastation is real. He's got big dad energy, like the guy who triple checks the grill, doesn't trust GPS, and still brags about his fantasy football win from 2014.
I feel like ChatGPT really laid into Brad there.
Yeah.
The other ones are not gut punching, but Brad's just kind of...
I don't know where this trend came from. Like, it came out of nowhere because my dad in our family group text today, he put a family picture and then he told ChatGPT to roast it and he just went down. I mean, it was such a long... Sorry, Dad, I didn't even read the whole text. I know you're listening, but it was just too much to read at the moment. So I don't know. Has anyone sent you anything like that?
I don't think so. I'm on LinkedIn, so what I keep seeing is people must be putting in their occupation or something, and something about them. Have you seen this?
No.
It's an action figure of them with their occupation or something. It's I don't know.
Oh, I've seen the action figure thing.
Yeah.
And Jake and Brad got an action figure in the Facebook.
Oh, that's
group.
right. Yeah, somebody did a 3-person one. Yeah.
That's awesome. Welcome back, Shelby.
Here I am.
Hey, babe. All right. So we just did a couple of highlights from the Facebook group, and we haven't even begun on the episodes yet. So I think here we go. Let's hop right in. Timon had a really funny opening story about a homeless man, or I should say, a fully homeless man.
Different tiers of homelessness.
That was really funny.
That was funny.
And his 30-foot anaconda.
I really felt like the ending of that story was going to be that, it was actually a euphemism. Because maybe, innocent Timon was missing it. And he was saying
30
something
minutes.
inappropriate.
A minute for every foot.
Maybe I have a dirty mind. I just was...
No, I think that's just...
That boggled my mind though that they allowed they truly spent 30 minutes too much of a people pleaser. I've been 30 seconds or been okay, all right.
But I can remember times when back in high school days when we were
that's
ministering to people. Do you remember the times we would go to the AMC movie theater or the Citrus Park Mall movie theater and just stand up front and just try to pray with people and stuff?
Yeah, and maybe thinking of 18-year-old me, maybe I wouldn't be so all right.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, maybe that was the moment. Maybe they were just being people pleasers, or maybe they were just trying to be kind and people pleasers. So Jake and Brad, they have so many of these, and Timon now, but they have so many of these whether they're inside jokes or just running jokes or callbacks from episodes of Ghost Runners that we never listened to. Have you gone back and started listening through?
I had put in the Facebook group that can you give me some key ones to go back to, and I haven't.
You know what? I feel like I've searched for the beginning of the pod, and I feel like I can't find earlier than episode 30 or 40 something on Facebook. I mean on YouTube. I might be wrong about that, but have you ever tried to go back and listen to old ones?
Well, you gave me some key ones in the beginning, but I started way later than you too.
I know, true. It's so there, but hey, there are so many of you guys out there that listen. You've fully caught up, and then you've started again from the beginning, and that's wow. That's a lot of wow. Congratulations. Yeah. But there's a lot of things that because that we came in late, and even though we've gone back and listened to some ones from the past, and every time that there's something mentioned on the pod that is really funny and it piques interest, usually somebody in the comments or somebody in the Facebook group will call out what episode it's from, so you can go back and listen, and that's always cool.
Yeah.
But this one, I mean, there's just so much Ghostie lore that we have yet to discover. There's so many things that still come up that I'm I wonder what they're referencing. And I think one of the funniest things was s'mores. You remember when I told you about this?
I vaguely remember this.
S'mores. I always thought for some reason that when they did s'mores that it was like they were picking 4 things because it was like the graham cracker, the chocolate, the marshmallow, the graham cracker, like those 4 things together. I had no idea that it was just short for Mount Rushmore.
At one point, I was trying to explain because my wife doesn't listen. My wife listens to this podcast, but not to the Ghost Stories podcast.
What
she's,
up, Kendra?
Yeah, supporting her friends, right? Yeah, I was trying to explain the s'mores thing to her, and she was like, because it's s'mores, she was just like, what? what is it? But yeah, the top 4 things. I don't know if I was like connecting those Mount Rushmore, or if it was maybe the glossary episode or sometime that they
I think it
mentioned
was the glossary.
Mount Rushmore. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it must have been the glossary episode when they said it, and I was like, what?
Because who says s'mores? Because it's s'mores.
yeah,
I know, but I thought it was just, I don't know.
They were mispronouncing it.
Yeah, I don't know, on purpose.
I had something like that though too for when they were like going to get a camera for Timon, the T on C thing. They kept saying T on C for maybe like 2 months of episodes, and I was just like, I guess I don't know what that is. and then finally they said Timon on camera, and I was like, oh my gosh, like well, part of it too is like I wasn't really watching the YouTube much, was just listening, and so maybe that's possibly why I didn't connect it. But.
Yeah. And I think I remember Timon on Camera, T on C, happened the week after the election, because I want to say that like I messaged Brad like a joke, like I guess Trump's first act as president was getting T on C, and he didn't respond. I was like, I wasn't trying to be political or anything. I just thought it was... All right, so what's your Packers story?
Yeah, it was just like, so they're recounting that like somebody, some friend or whatever is wearing like a Holy Sprite shirt or something with like the colors of the Packers, and some old guy like probably drunk, inebriated or something, was like says like, oh, Packers, whatever. We were at my wife and I were at a concert, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something like that, and I was wearing like a July 4th type of shirt that just said Old Navy, and this guy came up and said like, he goes, thank you for your service, man. And I was like, for what? What service? And he's like, you're in the Navy. And I was just like, you're welcome. Like, I just move on, please. But that was just a funny story.
That's great. All right, so then Timon gets a haircut. And we're all mourning the loss of Timon's 90s hairstyle, for sure. And Jake happens to mention that, hey, while you were gone, a lot of middle-aged women missed you. They missed you, and they called you a heartthrob. And they made a great point that it was, Brad was like, I think that it was because you were speaking to their inner, like, 90s crushes as having that hairstyle.
I mean, my heart throbs for one man, but I did love that hair.
It was great hair.
It was good hair.
But hey, who was one of your first crushes? Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
And he had that thing going.
Oh, yeah.
In Home Improvement.
No, I loved him in Tom and Huck. Sorry, go ahead.
Ooh,
No, I was gonna say I did thoroughly love all of the Brad and Jake over the last few weeks, like the comparisons to different actors, and then in the Facebook group, hilarious, like all the different people that like added pictures of like different people that are not great looking people with that haircut too. So yeah, I'm sure most of those were probably men that were posting that.
Yeah, the main ones.
But
well, speaking of Timon's hair and getting a haircut, they have a great discussion on haircuts in general, like how much they cost, haircut etiquette, awkward things during a haircut, the most enjoyable haircut experience. And I get my haircut by Shelby's little sister, who's an amazing hairstylist. So I'm super just like fortunate to have that.
For the ladies too, because there are lots of ladies who are watching, even though there weren't ladies in the podcast. It's a very different experience, I'm sure, and they tend to pay a lot more for their haircuts.
Oh, it's so true.
Be there longer.
On the average.
Yeah.
So true.
Well, for me, like the last maybe 5 years now or something, like I've had the same barber. His prices have gone up, but not recently.
Where did they start and where are they at now?
I want to say it was maybe like $20, and I would always give them like a $5 tip. Which there's a fun Timon's thing on the tip was funny. Talking about I shouldn't have tipped him. What am I doing?
That was so funny.
No, but then I think now it's like 35 plus $5 tip.
Yeah.
So
you're up to $40.
Yeah, $40. But
Man.
it's every 3 weeks or so, I think.
Yeah.
Now.
I'm at once a month. I just give Lindsay $20.
Oh yeah.
So
the whole thing's a tip?
Yeah, it's just a clean.
Kind
Yeah,
of?
the whole thing's a tip.
Okay.
Yeah, because she doesn't get charged because it's like a family thing.
Right.
She does it before a shift or after a shift or something.
Okay.
So I don't actually exchange money at the counter.
Yeah.
It's like a Venmo or like a
Gotcha.
$20 bill. I don't know.
I just bring her a coffee.
This last time,
Sorry.
she's like 9 months pregnant. She's like about to pop any day now.
It was really sweet of her to still do my hair.
First time that I ever walked in and saw her, she just looked so pregnant. she's so beautiful. She's amazing. She's always glowingly pregnant. And this time though, she just looked so tired and just I was like, oh, I just felt so bad that she was here cutting hair all day on her feet. And so after the haircut, I gave her the usual, but then I went across the street to Starbucks. I got her a Frappuccino and a little $10 Starbucks gift card.
Oh, I didn't know that you did that.
To bring it back and just
That's
leave with
sweet.
her.
But yeah, I have conversation with him and everything. But I definitely do remember getting haircuts. My mom was a hair cutter.
That's right. Your mom cut my hair one time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And but at a certain point, it was I want to see if I can get a barber or something. But there was a period of time where maybe I was, a lost sheep trying to find trying to find a good barber. And yeah, hair's getting messed up left and right and stuff. So definitely can relate. I think we probably all of us at some point have an experience we can relate with time in. So
Yeah.
all right, and then the next part, there's a mention about Jake and Timon filming with Trey, and I think I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited to see what the end product is of the Cherry Pie 5K. I think is what it's called.
I cannot wait for this.
Yeah. So, and I think it's even it's hilarious that I think there's 4 or 5 people, actors only. So I'm very curious to know, is this an hour and a half, or is this a 30-minute
Good
little
question.
rendition? But either way, it's I'm interested. I'm glad to see Timon made it on the cast as an Uber driver. So.
Yeah. And Zach, did he mention what Zach was doing in the movie?
I'm not sure. It's
can't
sleeping
remember.
on set. I
He's
think
sleeping on set. That's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
And when they were filming the scenes at the collapsed building, which they call the Sinkhole, but they totally gave away a spoiler, which I was not happy about, boys.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to spoil it for those of you who don't already have it spoiled, but they definitely give away a spoiler about the Cherry Pie 5K, and, well, now we know. So, I guess I'm not watching that movie. I'm just kidding. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be great.
Chances are people that are listening to this probably already have it spoiled too.
That's probably
But they
true.
may not remember.
That's true.
So.
Maybe they didn't catch it because they were watching their kids like me.
That's
so.
They were
If you didn't
multitasking.
just spoil it for me
Well, I
a
didn't
minute
spoil
ago.
Oh, I did. Sorry, off camera I did. My bad. Dang it. But I also I really like that we're getting a movie that is going to have Jake and Timon and Zach. I don't, unless it's a surprise, I don't think that we're getting a Brad cameo in this, and I wish we were getting a Brad cameo. In
That'd be
fact,
awesome.
Trey did an Ask Me Anything on a plane ride recently on Instagram. He did AMA, and I just put in the box, didn't even put a question. I was like, get Brad in that movie. And I don't know if we're going to get that. Which, funny enough, on the next episode, there was a moment where Jake talks about, tell me if you guys noticed this, Jake's talking about the Brazil nuts, and he's like, yeah, Trey was asking me if I knew what a Brazil nut was, and I didn't know what it was, and he kind of was he was like, man, for somebody who knows so much trivia, you don't know what a Brazil nut is? And Brad is so quick to jump and be like,
oh yeah,
Trey can get off of it. Right?
yeah.
Trey and Katie can forget about it or something
Yeah.
like that. And I was like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
It was really, I just love when podcasts collide. That's so funny. We love you, Brad. So cool if you stick it up for your bro, stuff like that. So then we get Jake talking about how he filmed with Morgan from Girls Gone Mild, which that was a fun, short-lived but fun comedy channel. It was also hilarious that he was talking about how like she genuinely was bad at pickleball. So when they had to find somebody to do like a bad at pickleball sketch, it was just like
I tried to not know your left from your right or something, and she was like, I struggle with that, something like that. Maybe not quite that absurd, but
we were listening to that part when we were like on our back patio. The kids were like playing in the yard, and me and Shelby were like eating lunch or something. Right?
Yeah.
Were you kind of listening?
Yeah, because I was gonna say this may show how much of a noob I am that I don't remember this name, but I definitely thought he said Girls Gone Wild at first, and I was like, what? Yeah. And then you were like, yeah, I remember Girls Gone Mild, and then he told me a little bit, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that rings a bell.
I pulled up a quick video clip to show her.
It took me a second. I was like, whoa, Jake. Jeez.
So what was next, Cory?
Just, Jake mentioning how busy he is. He's got a ton of things going on, lots of filming for like Friday ads, and then he's got Florida family vacation, which he's maybe on right now.
Or just finished.
And then he's going to China and Vietnam.
Yagtavo. You only go to Vietnam once. I was like, Yagtavo, that's like a toast, like Yagtavo! Wow, that was a little bit manufactured. We apologize. But yeah, so then they talked about this unsifted ad. Unsifted ad read, READ or REED. And they talk about all the different reeds, like Andy Reid and the reed of a clarinet.
Yeah.
And those were great. Those were hilarious.
That was fun.
Those are the moments that we watch the Ghost Runners podcast for. Like these are the little bits that are just so fun. And like we just talked about it a little bit ago off camera. You never even know when they're joking sometimes. Like sometimes you wonder, are we in the middle of a bit or are we not? In episode 429 on Wednesday's episode this week, they go into a little bit where like Brad mentions, we just talked about this last week. And Jake's like, no, we didn't. And Jake thought he was doing a bit, but Brad was just incorrectly remembering. He was remembering something that he had done by himself with the Fluffy Pancake Club podcast.
Yeah. And Timon played along.
Yeah, actually. And Timon played along.
With Brad, thinking that they were doing something to Jake.
So, like, they were accidentally doing a bit. Like, we love you guys so much. But, like, even the whole opening story with the fully homeless man at McDonald's, like, you just, like, threw it so quickly to Timon.
Yeah.
Cory was saying, like, you didn't even know if it was a bit or not. And I felt the same exact way when I was listening.
Exactly.
Gosh, we love you guys.
But on the ads piece, like you're saying, like this, we love it. Like we love these, like because it's all off the dome, you know. But I feel like I don't know if it was around the holidays or something, but I texted you, I think at one point and said like, dude, the ad reads are unhinged, like or something like that. Because I think there was a moment where, and Brad still does it from time to time, but Brad was just like getting all of them wrong. It was like a Main Street Roasters, and he was like GR like or Good Ranchers, like in the middle of it, and
then Cozy Earth.
Yeah,
they were mixing up Good Ranchers, Cozy Earth, and Main Street Roasters.
Just all of it,
like just mixing, like accidentally calling them.
It's
one
just
or the
Brad,
other.
I think. Back then, it was.
Yeah, and then more recently, it happened to Jake, like I think last week or something.
Right.
So it was just so fun.
Yeah,
these are the little joys that we have.
Because it's unscripted.
Exactly. And it's unsifted. It's unscripted and it's unsifted.
Okay.
Then they get right to talking about the boys' sports weekend. Did that have a title or a name? The name of the weekend?
No, I mean they did like opening ceremonies, and it seemed kind of Olympic-esque maybe, because they had like different events and points. That's not really Olympics, but
no, but it sounded so fun.
Yeah,
like
it did,
really fun, and they even give this advice. Again, pushing forward to the next episode 429 on Wednesday, but they're towards the end of that episode, they're talking to the I'm Down boys, which, speaking of ghosty lore, I don't know about the I'm Down boys. I've heard of the I'm Down boys a number of times. I've never heard any of the original like voice notes they would leave them and stuff like that. So
I know somebody posted in the Facebook group that they were like getting teary-eyed about the I'm Down boys because like the original recordings that she remembers, they were like in high school or something, and now one of them has one of the I'm Down boys, as it's said in that episode, has one in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Or
a bun in the oven,
which I think they mean their wife. But
I know. I'm trying to. Oh, here it is. So, Elena Spearing. She said the I'm Down boys voice memo made me teary-eyed. Thinking back to their first couple of voice memos when they were all in high school and just hanging out, and now some of them are graduated and married. I also liked how he talked about how they're all in the different fields of engineering and stuff, and he's like, if you have any job openings in North Michigan,
it's just a sidebar real quick.
And holy smokes, the amount of accent on that voice, it sounded so Canadian, and then I just forget that North Michigan and Canada are right there,
Tomato,
yeah. So when they're talking about the boys sports weekend, it sounds awesome. It sounds like so cool just to get together with all of the guys that you've been close to in your life, and just have some good old healthy competition.
Yeah, I don't know if I could think of 20 people that I would want to see, but but certainly maybe 10 or 12.
I wonder what was the qualification for the invite? I wonder who put it together, how everyone knew everyone.
Yeah. Did you? I don't know if they talked about it on the Ghost Runners or if this was on Trey's podcast, but they took someone to the hospital.
Oh, they talked about that on Ghost
they
Runners.
did. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was a completely random guy. They got a last second invite, but had circulation issues in his leg.
Right.
So
he took blood thinners.
Yeah.
Just to be safe and stuff.
They thought he was gonna be a good swimmer because he took his shirt off.
Yeah, he took his shirt off, got right in the pool. What was the end of that story? Do you remember?
They got 5 points.
He got. Oh yeah,
they did give him 5 points.
Yeah,
charity
for
points.
taking to the hospital. But then he got surgery and he's doing better now.
Oh,
man,
that's good.
And Brad talks about something that I think we can all relate to. When we're not the one in charge, he wasn't the captain of his team, and he also wishes that he had Jake on his team. But that probably would have been pretty uneven, pretty unfair, because you have two guys these guys are the best of friends. They can finish each other's sandwiches. The Frozen reference. So I think that it's good that they weren't together. But I know exactly how it would feel if we were to go on to something and get split up. It's just
yeah.
Kind of remember back in youth group days or something, or summer camp days, they would split you up from the people that you like on purpose just to get you to network or socialize or network. Socialize. Children don't network, they socialize. They talk about this really funny moment. Talk about the bad bet that was placed.
Oh, it was a golf bet or something. I think it was Isaac that I'm not a golf person, but he drove I don't even know what the right thing to say. He drove the golf ball.
He hit the ball real hard.
Yeah, and he hit it I guess straight and long. These are very elementary descriptions. No, but and then someone on Brad's team said oh, of course, I can beat that, and and he did not, and then Isaac didn't. I think when he tried to recreate it, and then this was all this person on Brad's team said they were going to bet all of their points that they had, which I think they were pretty down bad at that point anyway. But yeah, then they, I think Jake shakes for it, as the broker of the deal.
As quick as he could, he put his hand out there to shake.
And of course, Brad's team lost all their points, I think.
Man, yeah. So that was goodness.
Yeah.
And so after that, they talk about another Main Street Roasters ad. Code GRKC. You got these beans, mama, Jake says.
That's great.
And the review of the week, they talk about. Tell me you guys know about this. The Dead Rat review, because I don't know about this. I'm feeling left out. Have you heard this review before?
No, to be honest, I only am thinking that recognizing it. I was looking for a Facebook post. You said have one prepared or whatever, and there was a someone had mentioned, like, is it me? Or is it, like, this is the 4th time that we've heard it? And then I was like, maybe I have heard it. But for some reason, I was thinking, too, like, maybe they're confusing, like, with the other rat stories, like a mouse in the house type of thing. Or whatever,
Right.
I don't know.
One of the greatest songs of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the beginning episodes that I listened to.
Yeah, I saw the same thing on the Facebook group. I saw somebody saying, oh no, I think it was on the comments of the YouTube video of like, this is the 3rd time they've done this joke.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. And I'm just thinking to myself,
Is it a joke?
really? Like, now I'm at the point now sometimes where I don't know if it's a bit or I don't know if the comment section is a bit about repeating segments. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out though, I promise.
Yeah.
So then Timon does an amazing jingle. Did you listen to the jingle?
Oh, yeah.
For Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So last week's Santa Fe jingle, or was it 2 weeks ago? Whenever it was, Santa Fe was a 10 out of 10. This, I'll give it a 9.5 just because, as Timon himself said, sometimes he's done better, sometimes he's done worse. There was a couple of times where he had like that kind of raspiness in his voice, which I thought was kind of cool. But I just won't. I'll give it a 9.5 just as an honest Letterboxd review, so to say. I guess for Letterboxd it'd be, what would a 9.5 be? It'd be like a 4.5 pretty much. I'll give you a 4.5 on Letterboxd, my man. What do you guys think about this Hello jingle?
Oh yeah, it was super good. It was really impressive. I can't even hit those notes. So.
The jingles. Tell me about your history of the jingles. Ones that you've liked, ones that you haven't cared for.
Put me on the spot.
I'm just
here.
kidding. Tell me the ones that sucked.
No, I mean, this one was good. I will say, like if I'm listening in the car at a stoplight or something, and one of these, like a jingle's playing, I might be like, turn it down just a little bit, because I'm like this sounds like, especially when there's like multiple people singing in the jingle, it sounds like I'm not listening to like a professional song.
Right. Oh, you're like embarrassed, like who's pulling next to you?
Yeah.
The
Like,
red light.
what is this? Like, what they're listening to? Hello, it's just Time and Imsh. Like what?
Dude, I'm gonna make you look an "I'm Not Ashamed" T-shirt. Ghost Runners podcast.
Yeah, it'll be in the merch next week. No, but this one, like I was like going full speed, but it was so loud. I don't know if I was just listening to the podcast really loud, but when he was like hitting some of those notes, I like, just had to turn it down because it was like, hurting the ears. Not his like tone or whatever the proper term is, but yeah, just like the volume was too loud.
I have mentioned this in the past before about listening to the Ghost Runners podcast theme in 2x speed. I'm going to play it for all those ghosties who have not heard it. So here we go.
I think this hype means it's going down with some random thousand white me too. And West Australian competing faster on repeat, so come along, let's have some fun and go ahead, get on your feet, because it's a Ghost Runners podcast.
What's the shtick here? Like,
Maybe it's 1.5.
This episode started. That's it. That's good. I think this type beat means it's
There it
going
is.
down with some random positive white me too.
Oh, that's why I listened to
Eating
it.
faster on repeat, so come along, let's have some fun and go ahead, get on your feet, because it's a Ghost Runners podcast.
Yeah, Scott would like that.
I wonder if anyone has done like a dubstep remix of the Ghost Runners podcast song. Hey, this goes out to you listeners. Do a dubstep remix of the Ghost Runners podcast. I bet you AI could do that.
Yeah.
You plug the song in and just tell it to make it.
Jake Allen will figure it out.
Jake Allen, we're calling you, man.
Does anybody else ever feel the need to copy the cute voice at the end? Like, even though your voice is not cute, like the cute voice, you just have to copy the cute voice. Like, Ghost Runners podcast.
Yes.
Like, I do that to my kids all the time. And I'm like, it's not cute when I say it.
I only do it when
I
I'm
just have
alone.
to copy.
I do it when I'm alone.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
I'm trying to think, like, in my head, when I'm, like, singing along with it, do I, like, at least in my head, do I do that part too? And probably.
And now for a quick break, we're going to throw it to Justice for Dusty's Top 5.
It's Dusty's Top 5.
Let's go!
Welcome to Dusty's Top 5. Oh, settle down, please. It's not that good. Let me do this. right, well, today's pretty normal episode. Pretty good top 5. 2 pretty good episodes. Ghost Runners podcast. Yeah, it is, yeah. All right, well, let's get into it. Well, number 5. We've got, when they were talking about, would you rather speak to animals or would you rather speak all languages? Me personally, that's a hard question. It depends. I wouldn't really want to speak all languages because I need to hear what everyone's saying. Like, I've always wondered about if, like, because, like, a lot of our neighbors speak different languages, and I wonder if they're talking weird about me, and that would be weird. But then, again, if you're about to get eaten by a lion, you could ask him, like, you could, like, make bargains with him, so you never know. Both of them are good. I don't know which one is better, though. All right, well, that's number 5. Number 4, when Timon was talking about sleeping with his brother Jesse or something like that, I forget, but, and then when we were talking about waking up in the morning, what do you guys do? Do you guys harmonize or something? And Jake sang this Give Me a Break song. I don't know. It was just really funny. Number 3, another jingle. It was Timon's jingle from Stuck in a Sinkhole. I think that was what it's called. Yes, Timon's jingle that he sung for American Idol. I don't know, it was a pretty cool jingle, pretty good jingle. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it other than that it was good. Number 2, this is when they're talking about buying a business tomorrow, and Timon was considering a lot of things, but he said he might start a lawn care business, Timon's Tulips. I don't know. What would you guys do? Comment down below. Maybe you have already commented in Ghost Runners. You can share it here. I don't know. Who cares? Or you can comment hashtag Get Justice merch, like you guys did in the first one. I know. I know. I'm not joking. I don't know why you're laughing. I'm not joking. Okay. Anyways, what would I do? I'd start like a restaurant maybe. I like cooking. Maybe a YouTube channel. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Number 1. My favorite moment out of both of the pods this week. It was when Timon was talking about the fully homeless man and the 30-foot anaconda. I don't know. It was really funny. I had the stomach bug when that episode came out. And I don't know. My stomach was hurting so much while I was laughing. I was just like... I don't know. And then we watched it again. Like when we were preparing and taking notes. I was cracking up the whole time. I don't know. That was just my favorite. I don't know about you guys. You guys should comment down below you guys' top 5s. Yeah. Anyways, that was my top 5. Oh, thank you. Oh, no. Oh, you didn't have to.
Coming in hot on episode 429 on Wednesday, Brad dreams of a ghostie. I really liked too how fun it was that that Jake is like talking about getting wet or something, and he's like, "Please don't say that."
Yeah.
What I'm about to say next.
Yeah.
I know. I was wondering why you opened with coming in hot.
Yes, and then Timon dreams of old time war, where he shoots somebody with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, it's like very sophisticated dreams. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying he leads in by saying like, I don't really have like detailed dreams. And he's like, oh, but I did actually have one yesterday. And I was like in an old time war and I shot someone with an arrow. I really wanted to hear more because I'm sure he had more details, but that's about the extent of any of my dreams. It's like, I know the setting and like a action. That's it. Like, I don't have very vivid dreams.
Man, there was one time where I purposefully would journal my dreams. I'd I had a notebook by my bed. I'd wake up and immediately write them down. And I had a dream like every single night that I did that. And there was a lot of crazy dreams in there, but there were a lot of like really cool dreams too. I can't remember any of them right now, except for one where I was with some old high school friends. It was like you and a couple other guys from our class, and we were walking through like a Walmart in the middle of the night, and it was abandoned. And then it like flooded, like the Walmart flooded completely and turned into like an aquarium. And we actually had like golf clubs. We're floating in the aquarium on some surface, and we had like golf clubs and we were like hitting balls. into the water. There was more to it, but I can't remember. And it's such a bizarre dream. That was like 2010 or something. Wow, what were you going to say?
Well, I think the same thing. I guess you weren't going to jump into it, but it was reminding me of when we did internships with IHOP, how we would dream stream. So we'd always, like, every morning we'd come together, we'd pray, and, like, did anybody have a dream? And we'd talk about it.
Right.
And I had dreams, like,
cool.
every night when, like, during that time. And I just remember one time being like, I had this dream. I don't think it means anything. And I was like, I mean, like, Jesus came and he was, like, flying in and he had flames of fire. And I just remember everybody, like, cracking up. And I'm like, what? And they were all like, you don't think it means anything. So it was reminding me of that whole experience.
It's an epic dream
like,
of Jesus.
Well, the
fire
dream
in his
always
eyes.
feels really weird and foggy until you start to, like, say it out loud. And then it's like, then you go back and it's like, you're recalling this other life that you've lived, you know?
Oh, yeah. There's a book by Ted Dekker. There's a book series, Black, Red, and Green or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
When the guy goes to sleep, he wakes up into another world. So, like, every time he goes to sleep, instead of dreaming, he's just switching into a different reality. Okay. And so he has, like, these two different lives, like, one in our world, and then one in this, like, it's like the perfect, it's almost like the Garden of Eden. Yeah. Like, as if it was the perfect world where, like, the fruit is, like, delicious and like a utopia of some sort. Yeah, no, utopia. I can talk too much about this stuff. Either way, dreams are awesome. And right after we talk about dreams, Jake talks about how this is his 8th podcast recording of the week. Because he's just he's got to fit them all in before he goes off to China. So, but I couldn't even tell, and I'm wondering, 8th podcast. So he does 2 a week with Ghost Runners. Mm-hmm. Do you count it 2 a week with Correct Opinions because one is the regular, one is the Patreon?
Maybe.
So maybe he was doing 8 because it was just 2 of those.
Yeah, maybe.
2 sets of those.
2 weeks worth of podcast, maybe.
Very fun.
They didn't detail it, so.
I wonder if that's, like, depleting or if, like, you get into a rhythm and, like, you get better and better as you go.
Oh, well, that...
I mean, he mentioned... Oh, you mean, like, just, like, in this interaction of 8 podcasts? Or just, like, in general, like, the deeper you get into podcasting period...
Oh, like, well, I meant specifically having to do a bunch in 1 week.
Well, he mentions that, like, he thought that he would be, like... maybe like dried up from content perspective, but like it didn't seem like on any of the episodes that I listened to. I haven't listened to like the today Wednesday's like Trey Kennedy Correct Opinions podcast. Yeah. So
well, the very next point that they talk about is how Jake and Rachel have these 2 like different ways where Rachel is more quiet and like has less words. Like even when they're journaling, he'll journal like, you know, a bunch of pages while she's just journaling like a couple of paragraphs. So it's just like the difference between how he can just talk and talk and talk, and she's just like more like a fewer words, you know. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking maybe he's just mastered that thing where it's like once you prime the pump and get it flowing, it just keeps going. Like he does this. He's got to do this for work every week on the podcast, for every time he goes out to do comedy specials. Yeah. Like he knows how to talk. And so he always finds something to say, and I think he probably enjoys like processing all of his thoughts and all of the weekly activities through storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a person who talks less, feels less, or experiences less. It's just they don't put words to all of it. So he's mastered the ability to put words to his feelings and his experiences, and yeah, that's a skill.
I don't know that I am necessarily always putting, like, words to my feelings, but I do feel like I can relate that, like, I can just, like, rattle off, like, things that happen during the day, and sometimes, like, if talking to Kedra about it, my wife is like, she's like, this isn't, you know, like, I felt, like, very, you know, it was a relatable story when Jake actually, in that same, like, conversation, mentions that he was telling... some sort of story. I think it maybe is about like it talking on the phone with someone or like something.
Google something.
Yeah, like some sort of technician or something. And he's on like minute 9, and Rachel was just like, "I'm good." Like I don't. you're like on the 9th minute talking about this thing, right? And so like she uses it as like the code word or like the safe word. I feel like Kedra probably could relate to like Rachel there. Like we don't have a code word or anything like that, but I think there's probably times when I'm telling Kedra something about work or something like that, and she's just like, I can just see it in her face, like it's going, like she's mind somewhere else, But I mean, I'm sure we all have that.
Oh, there's many times where like I'm talking a lot, and I just have to check in with Shelby and be like, "Sorry, I'm not too much." She's like, "No, I like hearing." It's like so many times she's the one, like while I'm driving and just like being quiet, like focusing on the road, whatever it is, or she'll be the one like telling me all of her thoughts and feelings and stuff, and she'll be like, "Are you?" And I'm like, "Yes, yeah, I'm just taking. You just keep talking. I'm just taking it in."
I know. I never mind when somebody else talks.
I'm listening to the Shelby podcast
right
now.
I'm like, which people have told me I should have a podcast before, but it always feels a little bit like an underhanded compliment. Like, you're just talking so much. Like, why don't you get a microphone and speak to a specific audience?
Monetize this.
But no, I'm never upset when somebody else is talking a lot. I'm like, oh, good. Like, give them a chance, because otherwise I will accidentally just fill up all the space. Aww. But also, you have crazy things happen at your job sometimes, or like in your day, and I will never hear about it until like you happen to mention it to somebody else in passing, and I'm like, what? Like, there was a major drug bust in the middle of the lobby and you didn't tell me about this?
It wasn't the lobby. That was a couple years ago.
I was making up a thing. That really happened? No, I'm just kidding. But stuff like that.
Listen, on a week,
crazy stuff.
On the first week of the pod, we're talking, and I mentioned that I was like, did I tell you that I have a personal trainer? And she's like, what? No. I was like, yeah, Marquise, he's a cool guy.
But if you go to a movie, you'll come home and you will tell me frame by frame what happened in that movie. And I'm like, if that's what you want to talk about, like, okay, I'm here for it. You know.
Speaking of which, this Sunday night, Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith, baby.
Oh, yeah.
It's
being act like I care.
It's re-released in theaters this weekend.
Our church did rented out a theater at Woodlands, like the AMC,
to see King of Kings.
Yeah, see King of Kings.
Cool.
So we saw that yesterday. So
did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. I like, one of my initial thoughts, just like anytime you see white Jesus, is like everyone's gonna be like,
how are they still making white Jesus in 2025?
I know, how is that still happening? Yeah, it's funny.
I mean, he maybe has like some like facial features that you could be, but like they also, like, the disciples look like, I mean, they have like
the animation style is very odd. Yeah. That's why I haven't gone to see it. Like, Shelby's mom took the kids.
Necks.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I'm not into it. Like, whatever the animation style is, I'll watch it, I'm sure, whenever it comes out on streaming or something.
Yeah.
Man, we used to see when it comes out on video.
Yeah.
Or on DVD or on Redbox, and now it's just when it's streaming.
But there's like, during that movie, like, every time Jesus speaks, he's speaking like literally the scripture, and I don't know why, but I was just saying to Kedra, I was like, I don't know why I should have like expected anything different. It just feels like someone is recording them reading the scripture instead of like a person saying it organically.
You want it like The Chosen.
Maybe.
Have you guys watched that yet?
She's watched it. I'm just not great with like those types of things.
I got you.
Yeah,
we want our
thing.
Jesus to be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
To really like
more interesting than the Bible, all right?
Yeah.
I was gonna. This might be a little off
Hollywood
topic.
It, please.
This might be a little off topic, but it's always funny to me. Like, have you heard people like debate, like, or not debate, but they'll bring up like, we don't know if Jesus was white or black. Like, those are the only two options. And I'm like, actually, we do know what Jesus was. Like, we know exactly where he came from, and he was not white or black. So
I actually haven't heard anybody say that in real life. Like,
I've heard that many times.
Yeah.
Like,
man.
I guess ignorant people. I don't know.
That's true.
I mean, sorry if I'm offending someone that thought that.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're listening to this right now.
Yeah.
And it was so sweet, this little story that Brad tells about how he's taking Catherine to the airport. This is back when they're dating, and it's super early in the morning, and he's talkative. Speaking of talkative and untalkative, and she's like, "Oh, I guess you're a morning person, huh?" And he was like, "No," and it's just because he was excited to be there with her, the one that he loves, and I definitely had a lot of those moments. There was a few months time where my dad was doing this like prayer meeting in the mornings, and Shelby and I were helping lead worship for it sometimes, and it was like going to pick Shelby up while it was still dark outside. How early was it? Like 5:30?
5:30, yeah.
Like 5:30 a.m. picking her
And you'd
up.
show up with like a McDonald's latte every time.
I was in that like phase of just like spend all the money on Shelby that I could and not save anything.
Probably not the best idea, but I
Not a good
really
idea.
loved it.
Oh man, young love. So I think we've mentioned it on the pod before that we met in high school when we were like 14, 15, and it's been a long story ever since then. But when did you and Kadra meet?
Yeah, it was 2010, and the first time that we met each other was at a beach, actually. My family and I were... my family was staying. I'm like 18 at this point. I act like I had money. They're out vacationing at Indian Rocks Beach in Florida, and which is not too far from like where we live. But she came by and like joined, and we went on like a date. I think it was like a friend date thing. Like sparks were flying. I think like maybe like a first, like after we officially started dating a few weeks after that. I want to say in like the first, like maybe a month after we started dating, I took her to Hellsberg Diamond's place. We were looking at engagement rings. So
No way.
Yeah, just like
Dang.
already kind of knew.
Like I've never not thought Kadra was awesome. Like
Yeah.
from the first time being around her and stuff, quieter. Like, and of course I'm always more loud and obnoxious. Like there was those dynamics, but she's always been such an awesome person, and especially in adulthood. We've talked about in the pod already that like you guys were our friends through our 20s that stuck it out as we had different kids and stuff like that, and just like how patient and kind and cool you guys were with our kids as they were growing up. And we didn't mention this, but our favorite place to go for a long time, we used to go almost religiously on Tuesdays. We go to Tijuana Flats for Tijuana Tuesdays, Taco Tuesday, and we'd all get the Taco Tuesday deal. And eventually we started ordering it and like picking it up and bringing it to the house and like having game night at the house. Oh, those are such good times.
Yeah, Kadra and I got thrown together because you guys were friends, and
That's
so
right.
and we were both
Classic.
more awkward, so it took us like a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But then like now we're like best friends, so
Yeah, and I love it. And now our kids
great.
are like
Yeah.
besties as well.
I know, the sweetest. Love it.
But where was Kadra from
Oh
originally?
yeah, she's from Fayetteville, Georgia, which is like maybe like 30 minutes south of Atlanta. So,
Cool beans.
Yeah.
I love a good origin story.
Yeah.
So, Timon and Jesse in the morning having a song together. That was a hilarious joke where Jake was like, "Oh yeah, don't you guys do that?" And it just reminded me of how Timon's doing a great job recently of just riffing with the guys
Yeah.
and like picking up the bit and just moving forward with it. And then go ahead.
Yeah, they're like, and give us a little example that no, I can't. It's sacred. It's sacred. See exactly what you're saying. Like he quickly thought of that.
It's sacred.
I remember thinking in that moment, I was like, "Good job, Timon. Like
It's
you
so funny.
crisis averted."
I'm like embarrassed to admit that I was a little bit like, wait, is there a song?
Oh
That
no,
was
yeah.
one of those moments I was like, is there really a song?
I love it because even later in the episode, they're referencing back to it, and Jake's like trying to figure out the logistics of like how it could be filmed, and he's like picturing it in his head. That would be a really funny video to see to see Timon and his brother Jesse, because they share a bed, and it'd be so funny to see that. And then the guys talking about their opinion on their wives' clothes, and they've been saying this a couple times recently, where Jake's like, "I just think that Rachel wishes she maybe would have married a woman." Like somebody who has these opinions and stuff, because I just don't.
Yeah.
You're opinionated about clothes.
No, I am. That's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
Jake and I are different in this way.
Yeah.
I definitely have an opinion, and not in a negative way.
Well,
I like to be involved. Like I like to share my I think this color or.
Yeah, you're
that
pretty
cut.
complimentary.
Yeah.
Although when we are running late, I never trust your opinion because you're always like, it's great. I'm like, you're
But it's
lying
true.
because you don't want me to take more
If we're
time.
running late and she's already wearing something and she does look good, and she puts up something else like, should I wear this instead? I'm like, no, you look great, because she does look great. And yeah,
But
even
I
if
don't believe that you would be honest if
Because
there
the
was
rest of the
something
time you're
off.
like, maybe change the shoes.
No. But I think the opposite way, that in fact, if I saw that it could be an improvement, even if we're running even if it's going to cost us 2 extra minutes, if it's going to be that much of an improvement on your experience, I would say whether it's worth it or not.
Okay, maybe. And then maybe I'd be too mad at you to change if you told me the truth.
And somehow we totally brushed over this huge Minecraft. We totally brushed over the Minecraft movie. Have you seen the Minecraft movie?
I have not.
Okay, you haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah.
I took the kids to go see it. It was a blast. It was hilarious. Timing is exactly right. The experience was being in the theater. It was the first time since Avengers Endgame that there was a theater experience where the whole crowd was involved cheering or like shouting. In fact, there was like moments where there was a group of like 20 teenage boys behind us, and they weren't being obnoxious at all. They didn't do the thing where they threw the popcorn everywhere. They were just in the theater, and there were these iconic moments, like Jack Black comes on screen and he says, "I am Steve," and they all in unison join with him and say, "I am Steve," like together. Wow. And a couple of other moments like that where they all join in. And then, of course, when the whole chicken jockey thing happens, they all start cheering.
Yeah, Justice said he hated everybody joining in.
See, I think it's so fun because what else is the theater for than for us to all be enjoying a movie together, celebrating a movie together. So it's like when we all go see Star Wars together and the place is going wild, we go to the movies for that experience. Like, not for a bunch of people to be talking the whole time during a movie. That's the worst. But when everyone is cheering together,
yeah,
you get goosebumps. Like, when everyone's crying together, oh, man, that's even better. R.I.P. Iron Man. So anyway, I just thought it was a great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, if you've been contemplating seeing it, if you're waiting for it to come out on streaming, if you get the chance, go see it in the theater, like at an evening showing where there might be some more people there, just to kind of get that experience. Maybe you'll catch a theater full of, teenagers who are gonna shout along with it and enjoy it with you like that. I don't know.
Is it fun for people who don't give a rip about Minecraft?
Oh, I've never played Minecraft in my life. I've never played 1 minute of Minecraft. They did a great job of just making a fun movie. You recognize that it's in the Minecraft world. You get that part. Like they probably do like a 90-second monologue in the very intro of the movie where Jack Black just explains everything real quick. Mm-hmm. And you kind of pick up from there. And it's from the writer and director of Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So there's a couple of Nacho Libre like callbacks and stuff. It's a great movie. Anyway, let's keep hopping through this. Bo builds a bed for his teddy bear. Adorable.
Bo builds a bed.
Bo builds a bed for his big old bear. So wins of the week. Number 1, Brad with his huge woodworking order that came through for the South Dakota Pheasant Hunt Lodge.
Yeah.
That's super cool, and what a huge order. That's a little intimidating when I hear him say how many things, so...
He's not going to be podcasting.
Godspeed.
For the next few months.
That was a joke, right?
Yeah,
of course. Of course.
It's a Jake podcast now.
Jake and Timon in the morning. That'd be funny. So, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who... Because you do stuff with rental houses, and... What else do you do? What are some of your side gigs?
I think that's it at this point.
Oh, but it's a huge side gig.
Yeah, at one point I was like buying like MacBooks on Facebook or Craigslist, and then like selling them
Flipping
on
them.
eBay. Yeah.
You started making stuff for your house too, right? Didn't you?
Oh yeah,
you
built that awesome thing.
Yeah, I've done like accent walls in all the bedrooms, different ones. And then in my like behind my desk at work is like a big built-in thing that I built. I mean, I used a couple like of the cabinets from like Lowe's, like you can just grab off the shelf, whatever, for the base, but then like everything else, like the countertop and shelves and all that stuff. So yeah,
that's awesome.
So, but the part where like you and your dad have a business together, where you like rent houses and stuff like that.
Yeah. What
are some of like the trial and error things that you've learned from experience alone? Something that you've never learned.
I mean, I think, and this is probably rental specific, so maybe Jake, if you need advice here, but it's just like the screening the tenants piece, like screening them well and be selective, even if like there's times when like a rental might be sitting and it's kind of aggravating. It's like, should I drop the rent? Should I just kind of like maybe adjust the criteria a little bit? But I think like build the criteria and just stick to it. I think it's like, because we've had to like kick tenants out. I think
Gotcha.
at least once or twice recently. So
Yeah.
And then I think like again, this is all real estate specific, but like as soon as we've always like had this philosophy, as soon as there's any issues at all, like report it. Like number one, we want the tenants to report them, and then like as soon as possible, and then address them as quickly as possible. Because like anything like a small leak can become like I need to replace the whole vanity or kitchen or whatever. Like anything small can become big quickly. So yeah.
As a hotel guy, not owning my own business but just working in that industry, there's something so frustrating about the guest who stays 4 nights, and then as they're checking out on the 5th day, they mention something that it's like, oh, I wish you would have mentioned that when it like right when it
Could've
happened,
made it right.
like 3 days ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Could have made it right. Or it could be something like, oh yeah, there was water like underneath the AC unit in the room, and it's like whether the AC unit drain got clogged and it's just kind of backing up a little bit, the condensation is backing up, or what have you. It's like now there's been water just sitting in that carpet for like 3 days, making it smell and all that stuff. So
it's exacerbated.
Yeah. So hey, if you're staying somewhere and you have a complaint, don't be like, I don't want to complain. Just let them know about it so they can get it taken care of.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I just really thought it was so cool how much they talked about entrepreneurship. That's something that's always interested us. We have it. Shelby had her own like face painting business kind of like many years ago, which she did some events, some gigs here and there, and you were really good. You always got a lot of praise for it and stuff. It's just that's like a very niche market kind of thing.
I could have done really well with that if I was good at like telling people how much it is and collecting money and staying organized. Like the business was fine. There's no shortage of like birthday parties and events and stuff like that. It's just I'm not a business person.
Gotcha.
I'm not like, here's what I'm worth, now pay it to me. Like I'm not good at that. I'm really not.
Yeah.
Got you. So other wins of the week, Jake talked about his date night with Rachel and how they went out to dinner and then they watched Forrest Gump, which I just learned is Jake's favorite movie. No, I hadn't heard that before. So, and that's one of your favorite movies too, right?
It is. It's one of my favorite movies. And I made you watch it. I was like, hey, can we watch this together?
Well, I had only ever seen most of it. Like I would see bits and pieces of it like on TV or at a friend's house. So when we were married, I actually like watched the whole thing through.
No, you didn't. You fell asleep.
No, but
you 100% fell asleep.
No, but like eventually, but then we watched it again at some point.
I don't know. I think you still haven't seen it from beginning to end. I think we need to watch.
I can't believe that. I must have.
You 100.
Holy
fell
smokes.
asleep.
You know what though?
Halfway through.
I love the idea. I mean, I love the fact that they have like a restaurant, like Bubba Gump's, like at Universal Studios, like Daytona Beach, like
they went
Bubba Gump's. John's Pass.
Yeah,
that's right. We ate there one time, didn't we? Or you were eating there and we came and picked you up or something. Whatever.
Something like that.
Either way, that's so fun. Okay, well, darn it, I'll watch it from beginning to end just to be sure that I've knocked that off my bucket list. But I really do like the movie, and it's really interesting. And you know what I also love? I love how they do the whole bit in the movie where he was the cause for all these famous things that had happened. Like he's the reason that Elvis dances that way, and he was like he had to pee while he was visiting the White House or something like that because he drank too many Dr. Peppers. Or
he lets them know. He like complains at a hotel or something like that because of the Nixon stuff. He like
the
exposes.
Watergate,
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler alert. But I'm just kidding. It's such a
good
movie.
Well, it's so good because it's like laughs and cries, and at the end it's just like there's sadness, but there's also like feel good and resolution, and it's just and like just the good natured, the good heartedness.
I've definitely seen the end. I've seen the beginning. I've seen the middle. I just maybe I haven't seen it all one time through. I guess
that was a movie we used to have in the like family van when I was a little kid. There was a like the upgraded family van. There was like a VHS player, and that was one of the 4 movies that were always in the car. So I only watched it many times. Yeah, I don't think I've watched it since. It's probably been like 15 or 20 years since I've watched it. But
maybe we just need to make it a movie now.
Yeah,
I am genuinely torn on. I miss those days of only having 4 movies in the van.
Yeah.
Versus having every movie at your command.
Sure,
I miss
It's overwhelming.
Our kids are spoiled as crap with too many choices. So
yeah.
It's like
it's a little frustrating.
But it's also so convenient that it's hard to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I was just gonna say it's like a Cheesecake Factory menu versus like yeah, like I don't know.
And that's one of the things about
one.
Chili's. Like they've knocked a few things off of their menu. Like my favorite thing, the original chicken crispers.
Yeah.
They took it off their menu. Like I think that they were trying to simplify it a little bit when the new CEO took over a couple of years ago or something. But I'm like, bro, of all the changes you made, you took away my original chicken crispers.
Yeah.
I gotta throw in like one more random note. You can cut this out if you think this is lame, but I'm
thirsty.
I just don't know if I'm ever gonna get used to seeing Timon's name and not saying Timon in my head. Every time I see it, it's like when I hear it, it's like, yeah, Timon. But when I see it, it's Timon every time.
My very first YouTube video comment that I ever made, it was when Jake was gone one week and Brad and Timon did an episode together, and it was just the two of them on screen, and I just put Timon and Pumbaa with a little heart. Because Timon is spelled the exact same way.
Yeah.
And Pumbaa just big lovable Brad. I mean, it was... And
it feels a little insulting, but...
No, it was beautiful. It was like Timon and Pumbaa.
Now Brad's going to recall seeing that. He's going to be like, maybe I don't like Caleb.
That was you, Caleb. That was you. Gosh. Well, I mean, they end the episode by just kind of talking a lot more about entrepreneurship and fatherhood. This upcoming podcast that Brad and Will are working on called Table Setters, where it's gonna be like a conglomeration of fatherhood and starting your own business, and I just think that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to listen to that, and I can't wait for more episodes of the Fluffy Pancake Club, which is so fun. Like I said, if you're not on Patreon, you can hop on there for $5 a month, and you can find the post where he has I think it's 8 episodes on there. And it's exciting that he's talking about how he's making a backlog and he's gonna release them, whether it's weekly or whatever. We definitely want them at least weekly, man. You should. So hopefully we'll get those soon. I know this was mentioned originally a long time ago on the pod, but Jake bringing up the fact that his mom didn't retire last year because just the people pleasing thing where
it was an inconvenience.
Her boss was stressed. He didn't want to have a meeting, and just the more funny part of that is that Rachel did the same thing. She kept a boyfriend for 9 months too long because she was going to break up with him on the same day that Kobe Bryant passed away. And so she couldn't do it because Kobe Bryant just died.
Yeah. And I love Jake has told that story, I think, at least 2 times. Like maybe this was the second or the third. But yeah, and he's like, he recounts it. And then he kind of pauses, and then he says, 9 months. It's oh, what? How? That's, insane.
That's right.
Yeah.
But hey, it all worked out. And last but not least, Jake talks about how he tried to get Molly into this pickleball competition, and they weren't letting him. And then eventually the guy was like, you're not going to win anyway, so I'll let you in. And how now Jake has the fire. He's like, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. So... Jake, we hope you win it.
Yep.
Ghosties, that has been episode 3 of Ghosties on Second. And a special thank you to my beloved bride and my beloved bro for joining me on this week's episode. Ghosties, much love.